So I've had this for a very long time. This is, of course, the EWOKS animated cartoon. Back in 1983, you might remember a little movie called Return of the Jedi that heavily featured these guys. Oh yeah, by the way, I have a stuffed Wicket. Now, the EWOKS, of course, had their own spin-off cartoon series that you can now watch on Disney Plus if you are a Disney Plus subscriber. I actually highly recommend watching this series with your kids. Now, if you're a longtime Star Wars fan and you've never watched this before or you don't even know about it, then nothing I'm going to say is going to make you want to watch it. This cartoon series has very little to do with anything Star Wars other than EWOKS, because it's the EWOKS show, right? I'll be honest, I was 12 years old when I saw Return of the Jedi, and I was like, this is for little kids, this is dumb. And yeah, it definitely catered to the children in the audience, but it is what it is. That's kind of the same way I see Jar Jar Binks. I mean, by the time I saw Jar Jar Binks, I was nearly 30 years old, so I understood that it was for kids, and it didn't really bother me that much. And because like people look at Jar Jar Binks and they go, that kind of humor and childish BS doesn't belong in Star Wars. Didn't you see Return of the Jedi? Like, I'm not going to say that I like Jar Jar Binks better than the EWOKS. I just appreciate both of them for their role that they play in the Star Wars saga. They're not there for adults. They're there to get the kids interested and have something goofy and fun for them to look at. So EWOKS. So it's only logical that they get their own series, right? Because kids like them, and, let's put them on Saturday morning cartoons. Brilliant. I have here the Volume 1, EWOKS, Volume 1, the animated series. And it includes 2 episodes. It's VHS, of course, because, right? I've owned this tape for a really long time, and I've watched this a bunch of times. But it never really, I don't know, just kind of goes by. I mean, I watched it with my kids because kids love EWOKS, right? But it's not the kind of thing that I would sit down and watch and be filled with like Star Wars nostalgia or anything like that. Like when this was on TV in 1985, 2 years after Return of the Jedi, I was already in middle school and just, very close to high school. And it's not that cool to sit around and watch the EWOKS in 1985 for a guy like me. First of all, I would really, really like to sleep in on a Saturday morning at that age, rather than get up early and watch cartoons. But being a Saturday morning cartoon, it actually works pretty good. I mean, it ran for 2 seasons, 85, 86. It's very child-friendly. It's not super dumbed down though, but it does have all those kind of Saturday morning cartoon qualities. Let's say, very reminiscent of something like the Smurfs or the Snorks. But yeah, it reminds me of those kind of like little creature kind of cartoons where it's like they have a whole culture of little people. Like Smurfs, like little, creatures and whatever. And it's kind of like that. And there's different members of the community that have different characteristics, of course. In this one, you have like one is a scout, one is the chief, one's the son of the chief, and there's like brothers and sisters. And yeah, it expands on the whole Ewok thing, right? I mean, like in Return of the Jedi, you only saw them, they were just like, couldn't understand what they were saying, and there was no translation or anything, and they were just running around, and were like supposed to just assume that they got their own thing going on, and who cares? But I guess people did care because they fleshed it out pretty good in this. They actually like give them all like I said, different characteristics and different skills and whatever, and like that has nothing to do with the rest of the Star Wars universe, except for the planet of Endor that we saw in Return of the Jedi. But I guess this takes place before any of the Empire stuff went down, because there's no mention of stormtroopers, anything like that, there's Ewoks and their little family tribe versus like other like magic forest creatures and things like that. And there's a lot of magic in this, which makes it weird for the Star Wars universe because it's not like Jedi midichlorians based magic or the Force or anything like that. It's, you know, just magic. Magic just makes like kids cartoons so easy to write because it's like, well, how the heck did that happen? Well, it's magic. It just needed to happen because the story needed it to happen. So magic. Now there's 2 episodes on this tape. There's one called, well, I'll show you here. There's one called The Cries of the Trees, and there's another one called The Tree of Light. So Ewoks are all about trees, apparently. I've owned this tape and I've watched it many times. This time around, I kind of just put it on and, you know, did some other stuff around the room. And meanwhile, Ewoks are playing on my TV here. Yeah, and it's dumb. It's for kids. Kids are dumb. Like, compared to adults, anyway. Like most adults, it doesn't take a lot to entertain them. But this actually, they put a lot into this cartoon. I mean, it's a good cartoon. For 1985, it's actually probably one of the better quality cartoons that were out. The animation's pretty good. The voice cast is okay. There's some characters that have like a really annoying voice, like the leader of the Dulocs, which is like a competing sort of species on Endor. They're kind of like sneaky, evil. They're like orcs or whatever. I don't know what the hell they're supposed to be. They all look like Grinches, really. Grinches with tails, because they're all green and fuzzy and they don't wear clothes and a bunch of pervs. Yeah, I don't know. But there's the leader. Oh, he's got like the weirdest kind of voice. And like, I can't do the voice, but, you know, if you're really curious, I guess you could check it out. Yeah, and then there's like the Ewoks themselves have, you know, the voices you would expect. They're all mostly kind of high pitched, or well, they're all cartoony. They're all like stock cartoon voices, and you got your dumb guy, and you got your like angry guy, and then you got your like the timid smart guy, and you know, then you have all kinds of characters in there. So, you know, do I recommend it? If you're just like strictly a Star Wars fan and not specifically an Ewok fan, then you could probably skip this. You're not going to get much out of it. Like I said, there's no crossover with anything else to do with Star Wars. But if you are a fan of the Ewoks, I guess you probably are already watching it or you've already heard of it, so what's the point of all this? If my kids were little, I'd probably, you know, encourage them to watch it on Disney Plus or, you know, whip out the old VHS here. My kids are at an age now that they don't really appreciate this kind of thing. You know, maybe for ironic, nostalgic kind of purposes. But no, yeah, I'd recommend it for people with younger kids. Put it on for them, and they'll probably like it. It's goofy. It's a good cartoon. If you're an Ewok collector, however, you need to have this. I don't know, man. What do you think? Wunda.